Heineken. To my left and your right, we have
the Assistant Commissioner, Stu's Brew, Treasurer, and Future Champion.
First of all, we would like to apologize for having technical difficulties last week. We will post week 2's video cast with this one. The first game, we have Jägermeister versus Bacardi 151. Now, Mr. Jägermeister started Joe Flacco.
He has to be good because I wanted to draft him.
Yes, he did. Not an impressive 1.9 points, and he benched Michael Vick after I told him to let the dogs out. Come on. Why not?
I heard myself last week.
Yes, you did. Michael Vick scored 29.7 points. You should have listened, buddy. Now, Cadillac Williams was on the starting roster, and he scored 6.1. I still think he's performing like a Fiat. Yeah.
He's a look at you. What do you expect?
Yes. Now, Tony Gonzalez is not having his best season at getting 2.3 points. Now, his defense did score 25. That's pretty high. That deserves a round of applause. Bacardi 151, Carson Palmer, your starting quarterback, 7.9 points. I'm not sure about that. I suggest looking into your bench.
Or a trade. I have 3 quarterbacks.
Or a trade. Now, Frank Gore scored 30.2. Very impressive. Reggie Wayne, another 17. And Carlson. Fuck is Carlson? 5.8. Not important. His numbers were great across the board. And guess what? Michael Sims Walker did show up to play. Not only did he play, he performed 16.5 points. Yes, sir. Bacardi 151 gets the win, 114-81. And he goes 2-0. And Jägermeister Jäger, my personal nemesis, 0-2. With our second game, Delirium Tremens versus yours truly, Stu's Brew.
Did you ever find out what a delirium tremens was?
Yes, it's a type of beer.
Well, tune in next week, we might find out more.
Yes. Now, Delirium Tremens should be called Team Peyton Manning. Had another good game at 29.7 points. However, Marion Barber, 3.1. And the steal of the draft was benched. Dustin Keller, 18.9 points, and he benched him for Jeremy Shockey.
He was a 4th round pick.
Yes, that is some shocking news. Jeremy Shockey only scored 4.3. Now, he did have his MVP of the week, running back Massaquoi.
Alex, it's Massaquoi, and he's actually a wide receiver.
We say 1.1 points. Now, on Stu's Brew, he had great numbers all around. Matty Iceman, 27 points. LaShawn McCoy, 31 points. Adrian Peterson, 26 points. George, you should be fearful for this man. Now, Stu's Brews took the win 158, a league high, to 93.
Season high. Nobody's ever scored that much so far.
League high. And with the third game of the week, Mr. Heineken versus Hooray Beer! Now, yours truly's team scored an astounding 107 points. Drew Brees, 25. And everybody, Eddie Royal scored his second game with 10 plus points. I think he's going somewhere. Darren McFadden was still on my bench with 15 points. That's the second game that he's done good. On Hooray Beer's side, Tom Brady, 16, not so good. Andre Johnson did come out to perform with a 24.2 points. Now get this, Jonathan Stewart and Greg Jennings combined 8.5 points. And his defense, goose egg. I took the win 107-86. My team is currently 2-0. Hooray Beer 0-2. We feel that you should misspell your team name. Maybe you might start winning. And now to my next game. Miami Tank and Tonic versus Team Sir Johnny Blue. Jamie, please get rid of the team. Please. Now, Miami Tank and Tonic surprised a lot of people. He started Stump the Shab, who scored 41.2. You called it.
I did.
However, MJD, his first round pick, only 3 points. Only 3 points. And Dennis Clark had a good game. Mr. No Sean Moreno, pretty good game, 18.6. And Aram Oshado?
Murarushada, I'm not sure.
We say goose egg.
Egg.
Yes, now on Team Sir Johnny Blues side, Aaron Rodgers, or aka A-Raj,
Sure.
32 points. Jamal Charles and Ryan Matthews, unproven running backs, combined score of 11.7. And the Baltimore defense, 2 points. What is that about? Huh?
I'm not impressed.
That either.
The best team in the league is now, what's their record again?
0-2. Miami Tank surprised everyone. Got the win, 105-86.
And might I add, his first win in fantasy football.
First win of fantasy football.
Round of applause.
You should. And now to the game of the week. Game number 5, Bacardi Gold versus his cousin, Brady's Revenge. Now, Bacardi Gold had Turner the Burner, although he's not burning. He only scored 7.5 points. Now, Arian, Australian for beer,
Buster.
only scored 14.4, but enough. Now, Dwayne Bowe, what did I say last week?
I think you called it.
Yes.
He was not going to perform.
At all. 5.3 points. However, get this.
Mhm.
Ronald's favorite team, San Diego Chargers, 22 points.
On defense.
On defense.
Excellent.
Now, on Brady's revenge side, Chris Johnson, first round, second pick overall, bust. 4.3. We call that the bust of the week. Now, Mendenhall didn't have overtime. So guess what? 7.4 points. No performance. And we have Vines, Cool Runnings, scored only 1.1. Defense, goose egg. Now get this, folks. Brady's Revenge's kicker, 13 points. Hines Ward, 1.1. Chris Johnson, 4.3. Mendenhall, 7.4. Defense, 0. His kicker got more points than those starters, folks.
Chris Johnson.
That's why he lost.
CJ Choli.
Bacardi Gold, 96. Brady's Revenge, 74. Lowest score in the week?
I think so, actually. I think so. So every team in the league would have beaten Brady's Revenge. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Every single team, 1 through 9.
Every team. 1 through 9.
Okay.
Before I get to my co-host, who will be talking about next week's matchups, we're going to have a special guest. He is from the Miami Tank and Tonics, executive chef of the Biltmore Hotel.
Okay.
No other than Chef Rolando Crustada.
First special guest of the year.
Yes.
Thank you, Chef. Now with week 3 matchups. Our first matchup of week 3 is the Delirium Tremens versus Mr. Ken over here. While most of you are predicting that Mr. Ken will beat the Tremens, I happen to agree with everyone. Here's why. The Tremens are making the same mistake I warned Rolly about last week. You have a big problem. Their names are Marion Barber, Percy Harvin, and Massaquoi. I say probably another goose egg or maybe another 1.1 performance. And also, Percy Harvin, he has migraines. He's in no condition to play football, not even fantasy football. And if there's one rule I've come to learn in fantasy, that is never own or play a Cleveland Browns player. They won't do any good.
I don't even think he's eligible to play Madden.
In 8 years, I've never owned a Brown. Mr. Ken, on the other hand, is bringing out Eddie, the royal treatment. While I do feel he's a little overrated, you can't argue with results.
Definitely cannot.
This is a warning to my co-host though next week. Mr. Ken, that bench of yours is a little slacky. It looks a little like the Tremens starters. Next week is the beginning of bye weeks. But for this week, week 3, I choose Ken to take out the rookie. Next, 1-5-1.
Good choice.
Next, 1-5-1 faces off against Hooray Beer.
1-5-1 did legally change his name.
I see that Reggie, please take my Heisman away. Bush is still on his starters. No, Ivan, he's out 6 weeks. I hope that you're pulling a wonky and waiting until 12:59 on Sunday to start your team. Meanwhile, while on the subject, I do hope that you're going to take out the Cowboys defense. That's more priority over Bush. Because...
Are they projecting -2 points?
Actually, no, you're wrong. -3. Bush will get you a goose egg. The Cowboys will end up hurting.
Yes.
1-5-1. I am impressed. And that's actually hard to say.
I'm not impressed.
No?
That division is weak.
I'm not impressed with his team, but his management. Okay. Finally, he starts Mike Sims Walker. The only worry out of me is Carson Palmer. He's a starter. Please consider trades when you can. Anyway, I do choose 1-5-1. Just stay undefeated over Hooray Beer.
Ivan, please. Misspell the word. You need it.
With our third matchup, Sir Johnny Blue takes on Bacardi Gold. The most overrated team in fantasy is going with his usual in Donald Driver and Randy Moss. This time he's added Peyton Hillis. And again, another Cleveland Browns starting. I've already said how I felt about that. Where's Ryan Matthews when you need him?
It's on the bench.
Actually, he's on the injury report. Yeah, not so good. Don't worry, Jamie. Bacardi Gold isn't doing too much better either. He has Dwayne Bowe, a Chiefs offensive player.
What's his quarterback?
Matt?
Eureka's Castle?
Not so good. There's disaster written all over Kansas team. Michael, I'm cooling down Turner. Larry, the quarterbackless Fitzgerald.
He was never hot to begin with.
Did you have?
Yes.
I see a team scoring under 80 when I look at Hans's team. That's why I'm taking Jamie for the upset, and Jamie going 1-2.
1-2.
Now, with Tank and Tonic versus Jägermeister. This is a tough matchup. Definitely a toss-up. Until I saw Chef Starters this week. He has Buckhalter, Nate Washington, Devon Betts. I understand the handcuff starting, but Buckhalter is just not talented.
It's not.
And then you add a Dolphins receiver with third maybe now.
Slap.
My co-host doesn't even know where these guys play. Meanwhile, this is Jaeger's second chance, and so is Vic's. I'm predicting both of them to rebound and become fantasy stars this week.
So, is it safe to say that we're going to let the dogs out?
I'm not saying. You saw the video last week. I'm taking Jaeger shot for the win. And by the way, Javon Best. Fantasy stud. Now on to the main events. The game of the week, the fight for the dinner table. Choli Poli Guacamole versus Andrew. I'm sure most of you are on the edge of your seat, but don't worry. This fight will be free. Chris Johnson will repeat last week's performance. The Cutler to Knox combo will add up. Adrian Peterson and LaShawn McCoy will score more points than Choli's team. There is nothing Choli can do. Nothing the Kevin Walters of the world can help him with. Ronnie Brown and Marshall. They will play like the Dolphins that they are. I'm definitely